Okay, good morning. Well, I made a forecast last night, and you know what? I've got a couple days before some real weather comes to BC. A little bit of flurries moving through, sure, over the next 24 hours, but nothing major is going to go on. That gives us some time to talk about some other stuff. How about this article in the Tyee today? An article which is poorly named. It's named BC's flood prevention promises remain unfulfilled. I do like the prevention promises, though. That's really good. I like having rhythm in my naming conventions. However, it probably should be named something like "Floods are super fun. Let's do that all over again." That'd be more accurate. After the 2021 atmospheric river, the government preached diverting over recovery. Locals remember, but do the politicians? Let's find out what the article says here today. Our journalism is supported by readers like you. So subscribe to Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe. That's what it says right there. Kind of. Here's the flooding of Sumas Prairie in Abbotsford. You recall there, it happened just about 4 years ago, a little closer to December. I was warning people with interior weather and wilderness watchers. People said to me, "Joey, you saved me. You told me about the atmospheric river, and I didn't go to Vancouver that week, or I would have been trapped." I mean, basically, my advice always is don't go to Vancouver, no matter what the weather's doing, because it kind of sucks down there in the big smoke. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen. Get on! Wow. I'll watch the video later. They dry mop in this. Oh, and I just know because the words atmospheric river are in this episode, people are going to be like, "It's just rain." Oh, I can't wait for the troll comments. It's so... I love it every time. It's so much fun being a weather guy and having to listen to people who never learn about anything telling you it's just rain. Don't use definitions. Don't explain behavior. It's just rain. Well, this is what just rain did. 4 years after flooding devastated south coast of BC and whatnot in 2021, we're seeing that our vulnerability to climate-related disasters led to a series of specific promises from the federal provincial government that were aimed at reducing flood risk. But so far, basically nothing's happened. In July, provincial government released its new BC Flood Strategy, a document intended to set the stage for a new approach to how communities and governments collaborate. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Sounds all nice. The strategy emphasized the need to find ways to improve resiliency with an all-of-society approach that goes beyond localized tactics such as building larger dikes. The strategy recommended better analysis and mapping of flood vulnerabilities, improved dialogue and coordination between government and communities. Sounds good. Improved emergency responses. Okay. It also declared the need for investment for a range of key initiatives, including the restoration of wetlands to accommodate rising rivers. Of course, they're not going to talk about the damage that fires have been doing and why sometimes there's no ability for the ground to retain water in certain places. We're not talking about logging and deforestation, are we? And how that has led to areas being more susceptible to flooding. Are we talking about that? Well, I bet you Tyrone McNeil is. He's the Stolo tribal chief. He served as an advisor on the strategy. Of course, Stolo, that's right by Harrison Hot Springs, right on the Fraser River, where my friends June and Fred Quip are from. Former leaders there themselves. So he's he told the Tyee how the process was a perfect example of how governments could bring First Nations to the decision-making table from the outset in order to shape effective policy. But since the document was released in 2024, McNeil has become frustrated by a lack of progress in funding for the strategy's lofty goals. In February, he wrote to Ebby, warning that he and fellow members of the Lower Fraser Floodplains Coalition have seen little to no steps to move this important work forward. So basically nothing's been fucking done. I haven't seen any investments whatsoever, so it's probably going to happen again at some point if nothing changes. When asked in the spring about funding to support floodplain planning in the Fraser Valley, the province issued a statement that said, we'll just let the insurance companies take care of it. No, they said, current fiscal constraints due to competing priorities make it challenging to respond to this request at this time. Whoa! You love this one, our fiscal constraints. Well, you know what's going to happen is you spend a little bit of money now or you spend more money later. That's how it works. It's the same with the damn bridge in Quesnel. We've been waiting how many decades for an updated, a bridge that's wider, that works, that's safe? And then when something finally happens, it's going to cost way more money, to build it quickly. It's going to cost way more money to replace it in the future. If you build it 20 years ago, all the materials are cheaper. You know how this goes, friends. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, back to friggin' article here. So McNeil and others say flood mitigation funding should be seen as an investment. Like I'm saying, it limits how much you're going to have to spend in the future. Being prepared is the most cost-effective thing you can do, right? And that's why weather reporting services are one of the best bang for your bucks in terms of when we spend tax dollars to fund government agencies that collect meteorological data, that results in bonuses, in wins for us economically. Farmers know when to plant, fishermen know when not to go out. All the things that a weather forecast can provide us. And that's even true, when people are saying, Joey prevented me from getting caught in the floods during the atmospheric river. Being a part of this channel, whether you were a member or a Patreon or just coming for free and a subscriber, I saved you time, pain, money. That's the thing. Having plans is cost effective. It may seem like a lot of money to spend on at the time. Simply rebuilding back to the state we were in is a recipe for future costs. We know that every dollar we invest in prevention can reduce the cost of recovery by as much as $10. Good. If we spend money now, we save a lot of money down the road. Okay? So you get the idea. Near the mouth of the Coquihalla River, plans to upgrade a key dike that protects Hope's Hospital have been shelved for 18 months. What the heck? Well, the province works to update flood maps. Dudes, get a machine out there and fucking fix the dike. We know maps are important, but you know what? It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's not like, well, we can't do anything until the maps are made. No, it's pretty clear. Get some engineers, go out, find out what the dike needs, and fix it before something fucking catastrophic happens to Hope. We haven't even got to that time of year yet when the atmospheric river happened. It's a few weeks out. The worst case scenario this year could be as bad as that atmospheric river or worse. We don't know yet. We're certainly in a stormy pattern. We're taking Pacific storms. All you need is one to come along and get stuck in one location and stall there like happened in 2021, where that atmospheric river came through and then it basically was held in place by different weather systems and it was not able to move. So it dumped all its rain in one location. That kind of thing happens again. We are, going to see major devastation and loss. That was entirely preventable. And I don't get this, because WBC or workers' comp and WCB there, workers' comp's like, well, if you're fighting fire, you basically have to have a conversation about everything. You have to have an hour-long meeting about anything. You can't go in the forest and actually fight the fire. Well, careful, hey. Oh, you need a ticket for that. You need a ticket for this. You need a ticket for that. You can't drive an AVTV. Oh, can't Type 3 crews can't have followers on their crews anymore because our insurance won't cover it. So we had, I had two followers on my crew. One was a 20-year veteran of Vancouver Island, and he was told he can't follow anymore. Midway through the season, the rules just changed. We're going to have to use the contracted followers because the contracted followers are who insurance is covering. Well, what happened was the contracted follower had a 1.5 year experience, and he was a fucking moron. So to be safer, that wasn't about safety. It was about money. It's about who is covered and who's not. The insurance company's like, if they cared about safety, they'd let our guy with the 20 years experience. But that's how it goes. This is the nature of safety culture, and I call bullshit on it. So you have this situation where clearly in our society, there's things that if they don't get dealt with are disasters. Whether it's the Quesnel Bridge collapsing someday into the fucking Quesnel River, whether it's another flood like this that happens again. We're such a safety conscious culture until it's like our civilization. Well, if a large flood destroys part of the Fraser Valley again, who cares? It makes absolutely no sense. So these are safety things that need to happen now. Okay. The new maps will influence how communities such as Hope prepare for potential future floods. Sure, that's true. But also, how you prepare for a future potential flood is you go put some machines out there and start working on the friggin' dike. Okay? This isn't rocket science. You can have meetings and you can have discussions forever. You can have consultations and you can pay all these consultants and whatnot. Just get out there and start doing the damn work. Right? You can do both at the same time. You can start making the work happen while you're studying. The endless studying. 4 years. I don't think we needed 4 years. It was pretty obvious the week of what went wrong. But it's true. More technology, more selective and intelligent use of resources is a great idea. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be doing any of this planning. I'm just saying, you can plan for 30 years and get nothing done. With no maps available at the start of November, Hope staff drafted a letter to the province imploring it to deliver on the project. On November 7th, but 3 days before council was set to vote on sending the letter, the province delivered the updated modeling to Hope. Okay, the staff declared dryly that it was a total coincidence that maps arrived just as Hope prepared to go public with their dissent. So Hope Mayor Victor Smith spoke to the Tyee earlier in the day before the maps had been delivered and said the delays were holding up work needed to protect Fraser Canyon Hospital and numerous local businesses from a potential catastrophic Coquihalla flood. This is serious, man. Planning for disaster is a serious thing. It's a serious thing. Okay, 4 years ago, landslides cut off Hope in all directions. That was the same event we're talking about here, the atmospheric river, leaving the hospital stranded in a critical lifeline severed for communities and stranded travelers. But the raging Coquihalla also threatened the hospital, which is built next to the river, tearing away chunks of the riverbank and necessitating urgent repairs to shore up the site. Now, all the hospitals are right next to rivers, eh? It makes no sense. They should be on top of hills where less, I guess, maybe patients will get struck by lightning there. I don't know. Okay, so in Abbotsford, Merritt, and Princeton, the federal government has come under sharp criticism for denying requests to fund projects that would attempt to mitigate a repeat of 2021's disastrous flooding in 3 communities. Well, who is responsible for this? Fire them. In Abbotsford, where the low-lying Sumas Prairie was flooded when the Nooksack River overflowed its banks south of the border, the city's created a comprehensive plan to try to avoid a future billion-dollar disaster. The city's plans would reconfigure dikes to funnel floodwaters through Sumas Prairie toward the Fraser. The plan depends on several large projects, including the raising of Highway 1 and the construction of a new pump station that could be the largest of its kind. The comprehensive plan would cost $1.6 billion. It's a lot of money. If it was $1 billion disaster and it's going to happen, say, 5 times in the next 80 years, well, then you have your answer there. Is it cost effective? $1.6 billion. It's a lot to spend out now, but it saves us money in the long run. The city applied for funding through the government's disaster mitigation and adaptation program fund, but it was told last year its application has been denied. Holy, just bonkers. Why are you denying the application? Let's get some work done here. Who's ever's in charge of denying that application, find them and shoot them. We're almost done this article here, folks, but this is upsetting. Despite the rejection, Abbotsford is still pursuing the project. Creating the initial designs for the pump station will cost millions. The municipality has not even secured the funding for just the designs. 4 years later, I'm advocating for funding, says Ross Siemens, the mayor there. If you sense the frustration in my voice, it's because I feel like you're a voice in the wilderness. You feel like you're a voice in the wilderness sometimes. Siemens is hoping that the new infrastructure projects from the feds will help with the Sumas Prairie plan. While the low-lying flooded prairie it flooded in 2021, it closed the Trans-Canada Highway and the Canadian National Rail line. The area also crisscrossed by a major BC Hydro transmission line. It trapped a lot of people in Vancouver there. We got $65 billion in 2022 going down that freeway on an annual basis. $65 billion a year. It's a lot of goods and services that are being moved along there. So every week that we don't have traffic moving through there, a lot of money is being lost. Sometimes I drink too much coffee and then I can't talk. Last year, the province committed money to help boost dikes around Abbotsford existing Barrowtown pump station, which was inundated in 2021, nearly at least. $60 million has been promised to Merritt to improve their city dikes. It started snowing here. Provincial officials say they want Ottawa to ante up for flood protection. I hope the federal government starts to take this seriously, says Provincial Emergency Management and Climate Readiness Minister Kelly Green. In an email with Green's ministry, cited a long list of improvements made since 2021 to better prepare for future climate-related emergencies. Better monitoring systems and alert systems. But you know what? Monitoring isn't enough. You need prevention, or you need plans. Just monitoring. We need monitoring. I'm not against monitoring. Monitoring is good. We need lots of monitoring. But you can't just, only monitor. Then you won't have, you're going to get screwed. Improved communication with communities would be great. Upgrade emergency support services program. Sure, they've been doing that. But even as Green asked for more resources from Ottawa, she was less direct when questioned about whether her own government would increase its own spending. Asked if the province would increase funding for flood protection, Green pointed out to investments BC had previously made, it was important to make communities safer. So they just pass the buck and Like, it's all awesome when we're the one like get to stand there and be like, they're not doing enough. Well, what about you? Are you doing enough? This year we spent $27 million helping communities with the resilience projects. That's fuck all. We're investing $38 million in LiDAR, light detection, ranging data that's open for communities so they can have a good opportunity for decision making. It's important that we continue the work. So just lip service. Canadians across the country also continue to wait for one more key program repeatedly promised by Ottawa. On multiple occasions, the federal government declared its intention to create a new flood insurance program that would increase the availability of low-cost flood insurance for people who live in low-lying areas. The program's implementation is the single most important step Canada can take to protect homeowners from the financial risk of climate change, said some robot. When the feds failed to provide funding in a budget update delivered in late 2024, the Insurance Bureau of Canada condemned the omission, declaring Ottawa had broken its commitment. During the last election, the Liberals promised to launch the program in April 2026, but there's been no information offered since, no specifics detailed. So, I like to make big, bold predictions around here, and my big, bold prediction is the major floods will probably happen again sooner than later. I think as climate catastrophes are worsening and we get more warmth in the system, and warm air does what? It transports moisture. Warm air holds more moisture. Cold air, freezing cold air cannot hold any moisture. Minus 40 air can hold zero moisture. Cannot hold any invisible mist or water vapor can't exist in minus 40. That's why, minus 30. That's why when you throw your cup of hot water in the air, it turns to snow immediately. It condenses. That's why your vehicles are making exhaust like crazy. When you breathe out, you see your breath instantly condenses. When you see an airplane go overhead and it's minus 40 up there, the contrails instantly condense. The moisture, the vapor coming out of the back of the aircraft instantly condenses. So what I'm trying to say is, when you have a warmer planet, you have air that can hold more water, which means you're going to have more major rainstorms, more big storms, and more shit's going to happen. That's how it is, folks. Hit like, share, subscribe. We're trying to get to 10,000. Let's get there this year. 10,000 subscribers was my goal for 2025, and we're I don't know, 1,000 short or something like that. Over 1,000 short. Need you, friends. Hit subscribe. Okay, bye now.